us upon a fantastic journey beyond what the waking mind can imagine.
Dreams incredibly enrich your life, your horizons, the depths of your experiences.
They can terrify us, exhaust us, and promise us many things.
I remember seeing a friend of mine off in the distance, and I just said goodbye, like it was the last thing I would say.
They come to us when we are at our most defenseless. They take us where the conscious fears to tread. They are dreams and nightmares.
Beyond what is known lies an unexplored world of shadows and phantoms. A land that knows no limits of time or space. From the dawn of discovery to the nightfall of catastrophe. Journey to a universe of the unexplained, the unforeseen, the unbelievable. A place beyond reality where no question will go unanswered. A place where myth and legend are law, superstition a science.
It's time for our journey to begin. Our eyes may be closed, yet we are very much awake. Dreams, nightmares. Knowledge surrounds these library walls, and with these instruments, that knowledge can be ours. When we sleep, we dream, our subconscious flooded with images that can entertain, inspire, or terrify. Dreams are signposts in an uncharted land, fantastic terrain that exists within our minds. Here, past, present, and future are one. Here, our imagination has no limits, and it is here that our innermost desires can be fulfilled, where the power exists to remake the world into our own image. This is the world of dreams. This is the world of nightmares. This nocturnal voyage can begin innocently, peacefully, when we least expect it. As this woman falls asleep, her mind will transport her through a bizarre collage of images, some incomprehensible, some terrifying. These frightening images reverberate through our waking hours and become nightmares, twisted, surreal visions that can leave a haunting residue. If these nightmares persist, they can consume their victims, and for this poor dreamer, her private hell is only just beginning, for the night is still young.
Everybody dreams every single night. We have about 4 or 5 different dream periods a night. In an average lifetime, we'd acquire about 30,000 hours of dreams. There have been a lot of different definitions of a dream. One that's been given by children is it's a picture that you see at night. Some people give a long, complicated explanation that it's the form of nocturnal mentation one experiences during a sleeping state. Other people would say it's just a fun experience while you're asleep.
Dreaming is something that comes easily to all of us, and all we need to do is to remember the dreams, and we have access to what is going on unconsciously in our minds and therefore in our lives. And sometimes we have very bright ideas that we're not really aware of, and if these ideas are brought to the surface, they can help us to solve problems, they can help us to improve our relationships, They can help us in business or in school or in our careers, and they can even sometimes make discoveries for us.
To learn more about this mysterious process, we must look at what happens while we sleep. Normal sleep follows the same patterns. Electroencephalograph machines that record the electrical activity of the brain, literally brain waves, show that 4 different levels of activity occur during sleep. Sleep is the stage where these dream phantoms perform, the setting for this theater of our imagination. And that setting can change distinctly, altering the impact of the dream experience. Stage 1 sleep is the lightest, usually described as drifting off to sleep. It normally lasts only a few minutes before further changes occur, signaling the beginning of stage 2 sleep. Here we see the onset of deeper sleep. The mind is unfocused and there is a slowing of respiration. Sleepwalking and talking in one's sleep often occur at this stage. By stage 3 sleep, the dream cycle has begun. It is characterized by stronger electrical impulses from the brain. Now we're breathing slowly and regularly. The heart rate has slowed. The temperature has fallen. In stage 4, we reach the deepest level of sleep, visible as large, slow waves on electronic monitors, similar to brain activity during a coma. Now the brain returns back to stage 1 activity, and this marks the point where we experience our most vivid dreams. This is the time of the dreamer, and the body physically undergoes changes during this period. As this woman's ordeal continues, she undergoes rapid eye movement, or REM. Her breathing changes, her pulse quickens, her blood pressure rises, her body reacts to the terrible scene caught in her mind's eye. If she's fortunate, the rational light of day will dispel her slumbering fear. If she's lucky. And though her particular dream is her own, these physiological symptoms are shared by us all, for we all dream, and we all return to tell our tales.
I always dream in color, and my dreams are always very vivid and every bit as real as waking reality.
For me, they are mainly dreams where I become transformed into a different being.
When I was a young kid, I guess I remember being very frightened by nightmares. I remember a nightmare of being in an elevator trapped and falling and falling.
If I'm involved in schoolwork, I have many dreams about doing school projects. If I'm involved in artworks, I have many dreams about art projects.
I remembered the dream exactly as I had dreamt it, and what was unusual about the dream is that I was a man in the dream, which surprised me, and I was in medieval times, and I was wearing thin leather, sort of calf-length boots, and I could feel the cobblestones as I walked through this town.
Today, scientists have made remarkable discoveries as to why our dreams seem so real. Some believe their discoveries prove that it is possible to be conscious while you're dreaming, to actually control the outcome of your dreams. While we're asleep, our dreams seem so real that they deceive us into an unquestioning acceptance of their reality. Why is it that our brains can be so easily fooled? As we have seen, while we're asleep, our brains are active. In sleep laboratories like these, scientists have been studying these activities. For example, many people have reported dreams in which they were aware at the time that they were dreaming. Scientists have looked at this particular phenomena and have given it a name: lucid dreaming.
Lucid dreaming simply means being aware, knowing that you're dreaming at the time you're having the ongoing dream. It's, in other definitions, a bridge between waking reality and dream reality.
Studies have shown that the lucid dreamer has the ability to actually control the outcome of their dreams, an ability that can take the dreamer down some strange paths.
I once had a lucid dream in which I was in an airplane, and suddenly I realized that I was having a dream. At that point, I was able to manipulate and change the dream. I was able to direct the airplane to take me any place that I wanted to go. And I was able to bring people into the airplane that I wanted to see or wanted to be with. And obviously, this changed the nature and the direction of the dream.
For people involved in dream research, the study of these lucid dreams can be enlightening.
For me, really, the most intriguing thing about the lucid dreams I have is just the challenging aspect of waking up while still being asleep. Suddenly, what you have taken as reality is no longer reality. You've added a whole new aspect to your reality. And I wonder if the same thing is not possible in waking life. I enjoy lucid dreams very much. It's just, otherwise I would be asleep for that 8 or 12 hours, as the case may be. But now I can use that time to experience a whole, it's like having a second life.
Sometimes over a period of months or even years, the exact same dream may be repeated. Often it contains a strong element of anxiety, such as a task that can never be properly completed. What does it mean when we experience the same dream time after time? Is it possible that the recurring dream is telling us something we need to know? Most of us have experienced one of these recurring dreams. And not too surprisingly, there seems to be a reason for this repeat trip through illusion. Maybe that our subconscious is trying to tell us something.
Reoccurring dreams generally indicate unsolved or incomplete issues or problems in our life. And the dream will recur or will take place again in an attempt to bring closure to some issue that we have not yet been able to come to terms with.
Here's some unresolved problem, something you've not adequately dealt with and come to terms with. And so your dreams are saying, hey, I'm just coming back to remind you, you still haven't squared your account with me, and I'm going to keep coming back as many times as I need to until finally we get the record straight.
Why is this woman imagining this hideous chase? What, if anything, does this reveal about her subconscious? The answers to these questions remain elusive, hidden deep within our mind. The images that dreams present can leave a haunting legacy. Now, many believe that recurring dreams are symptoms of something deeper, something that can impact the dreamer when he wakens. Is it possible to learn from our dreams, to seize their power, and use it to our own advantage? In 1900, psychologist Sigmund Freud published The Interpretation of Dreams, in which he argues that dreams are far more than haphazard meanderings of the mind. On the contrary, they're a revealing look at the content of our inner lives.
The dreamer is like a playwright. This is something they create in their own head. They bring up the stage, they put the props on there, they write the script, they go out in there to casting director, they decide how many acts, they decide whether it's a happy or sad ending. So it's only them who can really have the right to acknowledge that this is a correct interpretation.
Our dreams can sometimes entertain. They can be forgotten with the ringing of an alarm clock, or stay with us for the rest of our lives. But what about the terrifying dreams we experience? What about nightmares?
Some of these thoughts and feelings can be frightening, they can be anxious, they can be scary, they can even be horrible and terrifying. And then we give the name nightmares to these particular dreams. Now, nightmares are not unusual. Nightmares occur to people of all ages. Some people simply have more of them than other people do.
About 2/3 of all dreams are unpleasant. The most common dreams would be dreams of being chased. That's the one that seems to be the most frequent, usually followed by falling. Flying would usually come in third place. Being sort of nude or only partially dressed in public would be a fairly common one. Dreaming of deceased individuals would be a fairly frequent one. An anxiety dream where somehow you go in to take an exam and a pencil doesn't write, or the questions can't be read, encountering some sort of barrier or frustration like that.
I've seen some patients of my own with nightmares, people who don't just occasionally have a nightmare, but who have nightmares pretty much every night. I gave them a lot of psychological tests. I had them sleep in the laboratory. My conclusion is that the people with a lot of nightmares were not necessarily people whom you'd call terribly sick. Some of them did have psychological problems, but some were just very creative, open, artistic people. And in fact, famous authors and painters, if you look in their biographies, often have a lot of nightmares. So if you have a lot of nightmares, you're either artistic, creative, or psychologically vulnerable, or maybe both.
Artists, anthropologists, psychiatrists, astrologers, even laypersons have sought to attach definite interpretations to the symbols of our dreams. For instance, some would have us believe that a dream involving images of a snake is related to attitudes towards sex. And yet, isn't it possible that in your dreams a snake is just a snake? While Freud tried literally to assign certain symbols to common feelings and emotions, today's experts have a somewhat different opinion.
Many of the images that we have when we are dreaming can be symbolic. For example, the sun might stand for the source of illumination in our life. It might stand for something that brings us warmth. It might represent a sun, S-O-N, instead of the sun, S-U-N. Or it might not be symbolic at all. It might simply be there to remind us of the last time we saw the sun.
Dreams can mean exactly what they appear to be. They don't have to have all these images, all the symbols and metaphors. They often can be day residue. And you just complete maybe a thought of what has gone on the day before, 2 days before.
There seems to be more interest in dreams lately. Maybe we're becoming more open. We're becoming more aware that this could be an important part of our lives. And it doesn't mean we have to believe word for word in what Freud said about dreams or in what Jung said or someone else said. I think we're just becoming more interested in our lives. We're interested in dreaming as a way of getting to know ourselves. As scientists, we're also interested in dreaming as a way of knowing how the mind functions. And we're beginning to learn the difference psychologically, biologically, chemically.
We know from the laboratory studies that everybody dreams every single night. The only difference is in recall. So that if people haven't been brought up to appreciate dreams either in their family or through any sort of educational experience, they tend to dismiss them. They tend to joke about them, and they just don't give them the merit that they deserve.
It's a foolish person who ignores his dreams, for they can be the key to our innermost thoughts and feelings. We must only know where to look. Discovering the meaning behind our dreams can be a rich and rewarding experience. And the best way to begin this personal odyssey is to write your dreams down.
I actually look forward to going to sleep at night because I know that I have very rich dreams, and if I can just remember to write them down, what I usually do is program myself to do that, and I put my dream book by my bed so that it's right there and it's easier for me.
Dreams are part of my life, and for me, when I go to bed every night is a sacred place for me. It's a place for me to listen to what's inside of me.
Once you begin to write down your dreams, what can you expect to discover?
What you would learn in your dreams is about your true personality, is how it is functioning at a deeper level. You learn about your strengths. You'd be learning about your weaknesses. You'd be learning more clearly about your needs. What are some conflicts you're not adequately dealing with? What are the sort of aspirations that you really would like to achieve? And maybe suggest some ways that you could get to those goals.
It's sobering to realize that as we sleep, we become spectators of our own imagination. A surrealistic theater where every image becomes charged with meaning. Meaning which still defies logical interpretation. We cannot deny our dreams. They inhabit our minds, taking us across a wondrous threshold where reality and fantasy collide. There are so many questions we cannot yet answer. Perhaps the answer will be revealed in a dream.
Secrets and Mysteries presents information based in part on theories and opinions, some of which are controversial. The producer's purpose is not to validate any side of an issue, but through the use of actualities and dramatic recreation, relate a possible answer, but not the only answer, to this material.